Lesson 1, get that job. Explain this lesson.
So that lesson is called Get Dat Job because if I called it Do Well in School, no one would read it.
That is true. It would seem very lectury.
So basically, if my readers are still in school, I just want to drive home how important it is to do well in school. And I don't mean you have to suck up to the teacher. I mean, my friends said that's what I was doing, and probably some people who didn't like me, if they exist. No, I'm kidding. But some people probably thought I was a brown noser. But if I had a question, I raised my hand and asked a question. If I had an answer to the teacher's question, I answered the question. That was the only way I knew that I was learning. And I mean, sometimes people feel silly for asking questions, but I don't really know how I got over that, but I did, because eventually by asking all these questions, I was the person with all the answers. Mm-hmm. So that article is about asking questions and making a good impression, doing your homework, getting A's. If you get a B, don't say, don't grovel, don't say, well, if I stay after class, whatever. Say, what can I do on the next paper to get an A? You got a B, you earned a B. That grade, I mean, you can ask, but it's probably not going to change. Just do better in the future. That makes a good impression. And those teachers or professors or graduate professors, whoever, anyone in life, bosses, if you make a good impression with them, they can write you a good letter of recommendation to get you that good job. And this personally worked very well for me because my accounting professor is the CEO of the company I currently work for. And I made a good impression. And I think that just impressing him has really opened the door for my life, because now I have the income to be able to start planning financially and to get a house and to have a dog and to do all of these other things that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So it all starts with having to get that job and having the financial freedom to do all these other things. And you get that job with references.
I love that finger thing.
It's rude to point.
That should be, it's not rude to point, no, because you're pointing at the paper and the paper explains what it is you are saying. You raised 2 very important points in lesson 2. Be honest and be conservative. Please give us an idea of each of these points.
Those are, first of all, this is my favorite lesson because I have this disturbing obsession with making budgets. I love making budgets. And if I want to, for example, get debt-free in less than 3, I make a new budget to see if I can afford it and to put the numbers here. And so I love making budgets.
Yes. You're a budget nerd.
I am a budget nerd.
Yeah.
So be honest, and be conservative, I go by in all of my budgets. So what that means, and actually I have my budget here. Visuals. So being honest is being realistic. So I have my electric, my gas, my heat, cell phones, but then I have accounts for personal care, entertainment, and miscellaneous that total $175 a month.
Really?
So that's just, and that's not including, so I included Netflix, I included internet, I included, groceries, car payments. So those are just personal cares, maybe a haircut, entertainment, those all like $175 a month, because I know that if my friends call me and say, let's go to the club or let's go out to dinner, I don't want to say, oh, I'm sorry, that's not in my budget. I'm 23. I can't have that reputation.
Yes.
So that's being honest. Know what you can and can't say no to, and be realistic about it. If you're like, no, I can cut this out, don't cut out. That's not what this budget is for. This budget is to see what you spend money on. Mm-hmm. And the be conservative is, if you don't know what a cost is, round the heck up. So I said I allocated $100 for electric and $100 for heat. It's actually getting a little closer to that than I'd like. But during the summer, I was way below that, but I didn't know. Honestly, I probably could have budgeted like $60 for each, but I didn't know. So I went as high as I thought was reasonable. Now, I know I've told you this before, but I'm just a girl that likes to Google things. So
yes, you do.
I'm like, average electric bill cost, average heating bill cost. And I looked at the square footage of the houses I was looking at. And so I put in the square footage of the biggest house I was looking at. And I was like, what will heat cost here? Okay, let's assume that a smaller house is inefficient. So I'm just going to put in that high number. And so that's being conservative. Be conservative, round up if you don't know. be honest. Don't try to cut anything out of your budget. Just see what you actually spend money on.
Lesson 3, savings worth having. Now you've started to use Lending Club, and I'm assuming that sheet that you just showed is not a part of Lending Club.
The budget is not part of Lending Club.
Okay, this is a part of Lending Club.
Yes.
Now, Lending Club, I'm still trying to get that slogan of yours in my head. It's like making your own bank. It's like being your own. It's like being your own bank, right? Right? No.
Yeah, sort of. It's like being the bank. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a slogan. It's not something I say live by. Be the bank. But
that would be awesome, though.
yes, I do say that.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
put it on your bumper sticker, please.
be the bank. Okay.
Yes.
No, Lending Club is. I mean, you are the bank in that people go. Common people, you and me, we go to Lending Club and say, my kid needs braces, and so you go to Lending Club and borrow money from other people like you and me to get your kid braces. So say you're like, it's going to be $5,000 for my kid to need braces. You put up the loan. Other people see that and say, yeah, this looks good. I'm going to put $25 into it. And hundreds of people put $25 in. So I'm going to switch sheets here. This one is my personal list of loans. These are all of the different loans that I have put $25 into. And I'm not sure if our viewers can see this, but some of them are getting 12% interest, some are getting 8%, some are getting 18.24% interest. So there's a lot of range here and a lot of opportunity to earn. You can see all the same information the bank sees. That's why you are the bank. You can see their credit score, their income, their job, if they've missed any payments in the last month. You can see all of these things on Lending Club, and you get to decide how much risk you want to take on.
Lesson 4, debt-free in less than 3. This is a title that you, of course, made up yourself. It's great. It's very catchy. It's very rhymey. Take it away.
I can't take full credit for that title.
You have to. It's television. You're owning it.
Okay, well, I'm owning it, but my boss gave me the idea for it.
Oh, okay.
Because a salesperson who's in the same position as I am at my company, back in the 90s, he bought a house, and it was $150,000. And he said, wow, that's a lot of money. I'm going to try to pay it off. So Paul, my boss, said, you need to set a goal. So his goal was mortgage-free in less than 3. I'm sorry, mortgage-free by 93. And I said, I don't think I'm going to be paying off my mortgage in 3 years, but student loans, which I'm pretty sure the interest rates and payment back assumes that you'll take 10 years to pay it back. Like, do you want to be 30 when you're done with your loans?
I do not.
So if you just rethink about how you're paying your student loans right now, you may be able to pay them off sooner. So my goal is actually to pay mine off by the end of this year, but I know that depending on jobs, that's not realistic for everyone. So the basis of that lesson is turn around how you're paying your bills. Normally people are like, oh, got to pay the credit card first, and then whatever's left, they're like, okay, this is the minimum payment for my loans, and then this is fun money. Think of it another way. Figure out, make a budget, or just use a calculator. Figure out how much you need to pay per month to pay off your loans in 3 years. And then see how much that leaves you with per month after your paychecks. If it leaves you with enough to cover your basic expenses and maybe pay off your credit card, this is where you will make a budget to try to cut things, not the rich budget. What I recommend here, pay your student loans first. The larger monthly amount that you figure out what it needs to be to pay them off in 3 years. For viewers, divide your total loan amount by 36. Just make that easy for you. And then you should be able to pay those first and then use the leftover to pay everything else.
Lessonsinriches.com.
Yes.
That's where they can find you, and that's where they can also interact with you about your lessons. And you welcome both compliments and criticisms alike, observations, anything, right?
Anything. All the comments I've gotten so far on the site were spam. So I'd like some real comments with feedback, even challenging me.
Yes.
Just anything you got. I'm always open to learn.
Great. It's Stephanie Fritz, creator of the blog Lessons in Riches. You can learn something. Please do. I know I will. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me.